Okay, I think I got it now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, kid, I told you to just come in as a student and I would give you a host.
Oh, I tried that and it kept just saying, it just kept spinning, saying the host, waiting for the host to let you in.
Yeah, because I was in a staff meeting.
Oh, how dare you?
Yeah, I know. It's ironic. I get here at 7:14 in the morning and I'm still late. I get it. I know. I know. It's the ironies. It's the ironies. All right. Well, so do me a favor. Let me
Corner
give you the
office problems.
stuff about the thing. What's that, bud?
Corner office problems, yeah.
Oh, for the love of God, honestly. Go lay in traffic. All right, you've got the ability to share your screen, so share your screen.
Yep. So, I need that box out of the way. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay.
Perfect. Excellent.
Hi, Timmy.
Hey, kiddo, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. So we've got Jeff and Candace. I think they're the shining stars right now, for sure. I know Jeff has been. Did you? I love the hat and the shades. Are you going to play golf after, or are you coming from 9 holes?
It's just trying to shade my personality from everybody.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Session 4, Define Your Value. You have the Carole Goodwin. She's a member of Haven Homes and Lifestyle. They are emanating out of their mega agent office in beautiful downtown Kittery. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yep. What are you close to if people are roaming around?
If you just walk down the street a little bit, and on the other side of the street is the Black Birch and
Mm,
Lil's, home of the famous cruller.
Oh, crawlers.
yes, Lils. It's so funny because like they're so delicious yet, and they're light, but they're heavy. They're full of fat.
You want to eat 10 of them. I mean, I got there, I bring them to, I do pack walk with the dog on Saturday mornings, and
Yeah.
they open at 7, pack walks at 8 in Hampton. So I was like, oh, they open at 7. I'll get there at like 7:10, 7:15, and I'm going to be like the first one in line.
Yeah.
Line was wrapped all the way around. It took 30, this is terrible. Real quick. Last Saturday, it took 35, 40 minutes. My order was wrong. That was a whole nother thing.
Oh
$55
boy.
I paid for crullers. The order was
Oh,
wrong.
$55?
But
Oh my
that's
God.
nothing. I was late. I never speed. Like, I pride myself on never getting a speeding ticket. I was flying down and I never speed. Like, literally, have I said that I never speed?
Yeah.
I got a ticket because a plane clocked me at 93 miles an hour.
I love that.
So
Oh,
not only did I get the wrong order
Speeding
for
with baked goods.
$55 crullers,
I can,
I got a
I can say that that's
$310 ticket.
really mine. I got pulled over in that same speed and he bumped it down to 90 and mine was $420.
Oh,
Oh,
I drive the speed
You
wow.
got
limit.
lucky.
I don't feel very lucky, but I guess I am, Candace. I guess I am.
There's a great guy. He used to be on my feed all the time on TikTok, and I can't think of his name for the life of me. And he's like, listen, if you're in the left lane and you're not moving, you got to move over. The left lane is for people with ticket money.
Ticket money.
Ticket
Not
money.
wrong.
Anyway, all right, kids. So
Well,
we're on session 4. You have Carole Goodwin here, which is fantastic. Can't stress enough the days in between the classes. Make sure you're taking something you learned today from the session and from Dr. Goodwin, and you put it into practice tomorrow, and then you're going to come back Friday. And I love that. Again, we have a whole bunch of people who recently joined the company. We deliver this 3 times a year. This is the last session of Ignite for 2025. There's someone you know that hasn't taken this class, and I will arm you with this statement. Gary feels that Ignite is for people that did 16 or fewer transactions in the last 12 months.
Which is a lot of us.
So if I went down the top-down report at our company and pointed out all the people that should be in this class, the internet would be full. So I appreciate the 2 of you being here. You're in great hands. Carole, I'm going to hit the get go button on record. And when you're done, you just exit and it will all shut down. And we'll take it from there. All these sessions, if you guys miss anything, all of the Ignite sessions are currently on YouTube from last session. So you can always go jump and grab those. I commend you for being here because I think this class is best learned in real time when you can ask each other questions and
Mhm.
learn in real time. So I will
Quick
leave you with
question
that.
for you before you leave.
Yes, ma'am.
The commercial class that's at noon today, is that being offered on Zoom or do I have to come into the office?
You do not have to. We are going to Zoom it on Keller TV. So immediately following contracts,
Yes.
when Ethan gets all set up, because obviously they're mic'd up for that, but we're going to make sure that he's mic'd up properly. And then Westcott is going to make sure that they hit record. So, because we are going to record it too, that will move over to YouTube eventually. But if you need to
Okay.
do commercial from the comfort of your home, yes, that will stay on. Keller TV after this class is going to be New Hampshire contracts and then Ethan. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to hit the records. Hang on a second. Oh, we're already
Thank you.
recording. We've been recording the whole time. The donut story is part of the content now. I love that. I love that.
Fantastic.
It's awesome. Session 4, define your value. Carole Goodwin. Thank you, my dear. I'm going to make sure that I make you host and I take myself off of host so I don't screw this up. Because if I leave right now, I think I jam up the whole situation. So let me
That would not be good.
let me do this. Well, if you're signed in as host, though, we should be okay.
I was co-host. Let me see if I
I'm
can.
making you host. Hang on. Yeah, you're a host now. I'm just going to double check. Yeah, hang on a second. Let me click this. I apologize, guys. It's taking me
Oh, I hacked
4
it.
hours to get this done. Yeah, you're the host. I can escape now.
Okay.
All right, kids. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Let's go back over here. So first things first, hi, I'm Carol. Because I'm not going to be able to really see you because I'm going to minimize all the boxes. If you have a question at all, just just interrupt. Just use your voice and we'll stop. Okay, that sound good?
Sounds good.
Because I won't really be looking at the chat. So just be like, hey, I have a question or a thought
Okay.
or whatever. At any point, you can interrupt me at any time. Because like Tim, I'm a Talkosaurus Rex, so I apologize in
Okay.
advance. We probably
Thank
the
you.
last time I did this, the last time I did this, we were like done before 11. And if you guys want to like take a bathroom break or a coffee break or something at 10 for like 10 minutes, do you want to do that? Or no?
Whatever's clever. However the class is going, I guess. All good.
It's up to you
Yeah,
guys.
I don't need a break if I can go straight through if that's, or the break is fine. Either way, I'm fine. I
Okay,
put myself booked until 1 o'clock today, so I've
Okay,
got,
yeah.
I've got all the time.
Okay, so we'll just sail through then, and if you guys are like, hey, I'm gonna run to the bathroom, we'll just stop. Like, I don't care. It's fine.
Mm.
No stress. Okay. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes,
Okay. You can see the Ignite screen?
yes.
Okay. So have either one of you taken Ignite before?
No,
No,
this
this
is
is my
my
first
first
time.
time.
Okay. Jeff, how long have you been licensed?
It's about 3 months.
Nice. Welcome. And what about you, Candace?
Same. We were at orientation together in July.
Oh, fun. Did you guys take
Good.
Shannon's class?
Which one?
No, I think it was just like the regular orientation day thing.
No, I mean
And I
for
met
to
all
get
the
a
new people.
license, did you do licensing with Shannon?
Shannon.
No.
No.
I don't know who Shannon is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't
All right.
either.
Cool. Shannon Aldrich Whaley teaches a lot of, she's who I did my
Oh,
thing with.
I'm taking my main reciprocal with her.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's just a phenomenal teacher. And if you can take anything when she does, sometimes she does like fair housing and things like that. She's just a fantastic teacher. So anyway,
Awesome.
okay, so this is Define Your Value, session 4. I feel like this is a really, really important part of our business, especially now where, I mean, you guys are just brand new jumping into this, so I'm sure possibly by now you've heard of the NAR settlement. Um, What just happened to the screen? Go away. The NAR settlement that happened last year. Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, I've been in
Okay.
contracts class with Tom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it's a bummer that I wish, I mean, I hate missing contracts class, so I really wish that there was like maybe no Ignite on Wednesday so we could all go to contract class. But I'm on a team, so I, ask the members of my team. I'm like, if I miss anything important, please let me know. But I just feel like in this landscape that we're in now, where people are, I mean, we do a lot of open houses, and there are a lot of people now who are like, not a lot, but there are a few people, there are more than there were before, who are like, no, I don't want to use an agent. Why? I don't need to use an agent. Why do I need to use an agent? So this is where we really need to sharpen our crayons in our toolbox, like Tim says, and define our value. How are we going to help them? What's in it for them? How are we protecting them? What do we offer them? So this is really, really important in my mind. So the course overview, spark your career, embrace your job. So this is basically, you've probably done these first three: spark your career, embrace your job, and connect with your market. Have you done those first three Ignites?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So this is defining your value. Here's the QR code. If you haven't already, if you want to grab the workbook, you probably have the whole Ignite workbook already with all of them in it, or I don't remember if this is just going to give you just the define your value one.
Oh, no, it's the whole thing. I downloaded it. It's like
Okay.
277 pages.
Okay, got it. Okay. I don't remember. It was a while ago, and I know I still have it in my system, but I can't see that right now. Jeff, do you have that too?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, Susie. I see a Susie Q in there. The Sue
Good
Doyle.
morning. Oh,
Good
stop. Hi.
morning. How are you?
I am fine. How is everybody?
Good. Good morning.
Good.
Yay. Thanks for being here, Carol.
Thanks for being here, Sue. Sue's one of our top, she's my A-lister agent, and
Oh,
lovely human being as well. She knows so much. She's so, so, so smart. Just a
oh
wealth
my
of information.
goodness. I'll put that $20 bill in your mailbox this afternoon, Carol.
I'll say
I
it for
love-
free because it's true, and you're a lovely human
I
being.
love
So
you. You're so
anyway, I
sweet.
love you too. Yeah.
Oh, thank
So
you.
Sue's always, I'm going to throw you in there. You're always available for questions because I still call you with questions.
Well,
Devin,
you know what? That's the office that we have. I mean, it literally just is the office that we have. Like you know, within the confines of what we can do and can say legally, there's just always someone to, regardless of what the issue is, to solve it. So we're very lucky.
And I think that's part of like talking about this class and defining your value and your value proposition. Part of that is I have 600 agents to lean into. And if, a situation has arisen and there's a question, I know that it's probably happened in the past, and there's an answer and an agent and a broker in my office who can help us. So
Yeah. Yep. And even it's, somebody needs a signpost for a couple of
Yep.
weeks till their order comes in. Like just anything you need, put it out on Facebook, and it's almost like a 99.9% chance that someone's going to be like, oh, no problem, I've got that, I'll leave it at the office. Or I don't know, other agencies aren't the same in that fashion. It's a little bit more cutthroat for many of them. So we're very lucky, and I think it's really important that especially newer agents understand it's a no judgment zone. I could not remember the other day in one of my states, one of the rules on something, and I was like beating my head against the wall. Like, why can't I remember this right now? And like within seconds, like 3 people answered it. I'm like, yep, that's it. Thank you. So it doesn't matter how long you've been around or licensed or whatever, toss stuff out there. I mean, don't put names and properties and prices and all that stuff, but just a generic question out there, and it's you're gonna get it answered.
Within minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and then check with the brokers, of course, if it's a, you know, a big thing or something that needs more behind it to answer the question. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, for
we're
sure.
lucky.
So today's agenda, we're going to talk about the value proposition. What is a value proposition? How to best create your value proposition, and then get really comfortable with that so that you can, rattle that off to all of your clients, all of your buyers and sellers. And in that, talking about what matters most to buyers and sellers. And then how you'll define your value proposition and how you'll basically, you're standing by your word. You're telling them right up front, this is what I'm going to do for you and how I'm going to work for you and earn my commission. And it's really important that that we have integrity and we're standing by that. And, there's a lot of, and Sue can definitely, agree with this too. I think there's a lot of things you see out there. If you're working with a buyer and you're a buyer's agent and you're going to see a listing or you're looking a listing up in the MLS, I wonder what that listing agent said to that seller when they signed them up. I'm going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to do all of these things for you. And then they're never at the showings. There's no docs in the MLS. Things are wrong. You know what I mean? They're not doing what they promised that seller that they would do. They signed them just to get that listing. So are you going to lead with integrity and honesty and trust and remember your value proposition that you told them in the beginning all the way through to closing and beyond? That's really important. And I think that's the most important part of it for me is remembering what I told them and remembering what I promised them and sticking to that all the way through. Um, and then any recap and ahas, and then daily success system. Your value proposition is a unique, memorable, and persuasive statement that expresses the true value of working with you. It addresses the specific and special needs of the buyer and the sellers in your market. It states what you'll do for them to earn your commission, and it holds you accountable, like I was just saying, to high standards. So you're saying, this is what I'm going to do. It doesn't need to be a paragraph. It doesn't need to be, an encyclopedia. It just needs to be a concise statement of, this is what I'm going to do for you. And then just do it. Just stick to your word. This is basically what you're doing. You're promising them that you're going to give them this level of service and you're going to do that all the way through. And how will you do that? And you, as you grow as an agent and as you learn, you will define what that is for yourself, and also remembering there can be boundaries around that, right? Like in the beginning, we're very, at least I was very eager to do anything. And I just wanted to please everybody. I'll do anything. You know what I mean? I'll drive anywhere. I'll do anything. And then if you adopt that as your value proposition and you're doing that and you're running yourself ragged, when you start getting busy, you're going to realize you don't have the time and you're going to have to set boundaries and thinking about who you'll work with also and what you'll do and all of that. So, this is something that can change over time and develop over time. However, the basis of it is something that you should carry throughout your business to hold yourself to high standards, because you want the people that you're working with to tell everyone they know, love, and trust how amazing you were and that you stuck to your word and you did everything that you said you were going to do right from the get-go. That's really important. Gary Keller, we all know and love Gary, the millionaire real estate agent, the Red Book. Top agents can easily explain what services they will provide to anyone who hires them. So that's basically what that value proposition is. The benefits of that is it helps your client understand your value, what you're going to bring to them, and your expertise. And even though you're new and you've been in the business for 3 months, like Tim says, your first day, You were new, that was it. You're not new anymore. You know, and you have people like Sue Doyle and Tom Heaney and Jason Westcott and Jen Vashon and all of us here to help you. It protects your commission. So you're basically saying, this is what I'm going to do for you, and I'm earning my commission. I'm not just going to put a sign in your yard and like Tim, I always forget all the 7 Ps, Sue, but and uh you're not just saying I'm going to put a sign in your yard and get, and ask for this, 47 Apple commission, compensation, whatever. You're saying this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to earn that commission, and I'm going to build a strong and trusting relationship with you and everyone that I work with, so that they have to trust you. This is the biggest thing they'll do in their life, right? This is financial surgery. So you have to really um mean what you say what you mean, and just build those relationships, because that's what we're doing, is we're in the business of building relationships with people. Value proposition examples. There's Airbnb, Walmart, Slack. Has anyone heard of Slack? Slack is amazing. Slack is something that we have a VA, a virtual assistant on our team, Naj, who lives in the Philippines. So while we're working, he's available 9 to 5 on Zoom, on email, on the phone. It's nighttime there, but he's working with us, so I can go into Slack. It's kind of like not texting, but it's like a program. And I can go in there and send him a message in real time, and he's gonna get back to me in real time. So Slack makes it downright pleasant to work together. Like, that's a pretty easy, short, sweet statement. State Farm, here to help life go right. Like, those are really short and sweet. So those are just some examples. We all know Walmart, everyday low prices for a broad range of goods that are always in stock in convenient geographic locations. That's very, that what they're saying, what they're doing. They have that very easily described out there, so you know what their company is. Connect to your value. So like Sue was just saying, connect to your market center and Keller Williams. There's a wealth of information there. Be the market expert, be the fiduciary. So these are all parts of your value. These are all little legs of the things that will help you. These are the resources that will help you to be the market expert. I don't really have too much to say about that slide. I don't know why. And here it is. Keller Williams in general and the market center value. I have access to the collective knowledge and experience of nearly 200,000 agents worldwide. That's a big statement right there. And I feel like if you're licensed in New Hampshire, say New Hampshire and Maine, you're not just able to help people in that state. You are contractually, yes. However, I've helped many of my clients sell or buy homes in other states around the country by going into our Keller Williams library of amazing agents and dialing into exactly where my client is looking to buy or sell, finding an amazing agent, and I vet them myself and make sure that that person is an extension of me in whatever that state is. So you can tell your family and friends and loved ones that I can help you basically anywhere in the world. So that's a huge thing. And then you also, if you dial that real down and make it really small, you have 600 agents-ish. I don't know what our exact number is. It changes all the time. However, you have about 600 agents in our market center that you can call, Facebook, email, whatever, to help you at any given moment. There was an agent that I worked with selling my client's home a few months ago, and she texted me yesterday and said, do you work in the specific town in New Hampshire? And I was like, sure, I'll help you. So, you're developing all these relationships, and you can help people anywhere basically, and you have all of these people to lean on. Fiduciary, I can point you to a reputable resource to determine the best school district for your kids. That's an example. I'm working with a seller right now who's also a friend, and she is going to be selling her home. And she was asking me about, what's going to happen, and is this the best thing? And she's not going to be buying something right away. And I said, talk to your CPA. Like Sue's always saying, be the source of the source. You know, so you cannot always help them with every single question they have. However, you can point them in the right direction and connect them with the people who are best going to serve them and be the market expert. I can help you price your home to sell because I'm very tuned into the market of the moment. And that leads into things like, I don't know if you've done it yet. Nate did an absorption class a few weeks ago that I went to. Jen Vashon usually does that class, but Nate did it this time. You know, there are all these classes and tools and small little math formulas that you can do to really be tuned in to the market so that when you're sitting in front of a buyer or seller, you are the market expert because you have that information. You know, set drips for yourself in the MLSs so that every day, you know, say you're in Portsmouth or whatever town you're in, you know what is active, what's come, you know, what's come to market in the past 24 hours, in the past hour, you know, so that you can tell people. Any questions yet? Is anyone there? Are you bored yet?
I'm listening.
Okay, good.
Not
It's like,
bored,
hello?
You didn't lose me. It's
absorbing,
okay.
absorbing everything, Carol. You're good.
Hello.
I'm eating toast, so I keep turning off my mic so I don't crunch in everybody's ears.
Jealous. I love toast. Okay. Love toast. The purpose of real estate. For buyers, their goal is to find just the right home at the best price in the right time with the least amount of problems. For sellers, their goal is to net the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. So they kind of want the same thing on kind of opposite sides of the table here. So the buyers want to find the best home for the least amount of money. The sellers want to get the most amount of money. You know, they both want it in, you know, the seller wants it in the shortest amount of time. Sometimes they do request, you know, it's a special situation, they'd like something longer. However, everyone wants everything with the least amount of problems, and that's our job, is to do that and facilitate that for them. You know, those are is that the right word? Conversely, like they're converse, they're juxtaposing things that they're looking for. However, we're going to work together with the agent on the other side of the table, which is really important to, because you're working for the same goal, right? So you want to work together with that person, develop a good relationship with the co-broke, because you're both ultimately working for the same goal. You're selling the same house for your clients and getting them everything that they need and they want. So that's that. That's the purpose of real estate. That's what we do. We buy and sell houses with people and help them do it. Oops. Okay. The 10 top service areas of the buyer value proposition. A needs analysis. A needs analysis. So when you're first talking to someone, you're asking them, what are they looking for? Where are they looking? Why are they looking? When are they looking? What's their ideal time frame look like? Have they spoken to a lender? What are the things what are the deal breakers they have? Sometimes I feel like a good question for me that I like to ask is
It's 9:30.
what is an absolute, I hate this deal breaker? And then like Sue can tell you, someone can tell you that, and then they'll end up buying a house with the thing they said they didn't want because, you know, sometimes they don't know what they want until they see it, you know, or things or their needs change along the way. And then the first thing you're going to do, you're going to obviously get them signed up as well. One thing as well, especially now with the NAR settlement, we have to have, if we're going to be working with the buyer, we have to have a buyer's agreement signed. That wasn't the case before. It's clearly always been best practice. However, I've certainly been guilty, especially in the first few years of doing business, that I was doing showings and, you know, going around with people and spending all that time and not getting them signed. So that's off the table. So that's actually really good. So you're going to do that needs analysis, get them all signed up, connect them with, if they're not already working with a lender, some people do have someone that they love and they're going to work with them. That's fine. Offer them, I like to offer them like 4 or 5 different trusted local lenders that I've worked with very successfully that I can speak to firsthand, get them connected so that they're working on their pre-approval. Neighborhood information, setting up a home search. So I don't usually set up a search, or we call it a drip, for them in the MLS until we have that pre-approval, so that we know. Sometimes I do kind of a rough one. However, I really like that pre-approval first, because I know how much house they're looking for. I don't want to start sending them a list of houses that are, we get the pre-approval and it's over their budget, because now you're just setting them up for disappointment right out of the gate, and no one wants to do that. That's not part of your value proposition. We want to underpromise and overdeliver. Then we're going to start looking at houses, make offers on houses, negotiate to buy that. Vendor coordination, meaning if there's going to be like the lender, the title company, a home inspection, the lender's going to take care of the appraisal, all of that. Pre-close preparation. Sue, do I need to get into like what all of this is? I mean, isn't this going to be in a different?
What, like appraisal and all of that?
Well, just like, do we need to go through like what the pre-close preparation could look like, or this is just kind of the overview?
That's a good question. What is is the book what we're seeing? Like just giving you a rundown?
I don't know. I'm not looking at it.
Okay. I mean, depending on the needs of the class, maybe just a sentence or two.
Maybe a little bit, yeah, because they've only been in business for 3 months. Okay, so
And
um,
sorry, Carol.
no, go
And
ahead.
I will tell you, it's kind of a funny story at this point, but it's very real when you're brand new. I happen to be in Florida, and I got a call, first transaction, got a call for a commission statement. So it's a very standard end of right before close, leading up to closing, very simple document to prepare. And I had never heard of it before at that point in time. And I freaked. I was Googling it, or whatever was Google back then. This was a long time ago. And I was freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, what's a commission statement? And then I found one. I'm like, oh my God, that's like, okay, this is just some math. It's all good. So probably having just a sentence or two to like, here's what this is. And then we find out it's probably covered in other classes, or definitely covered in contracts classes. So definitely go to all of those that you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm on a team. So, and I've always been on a team since so I was born on a team. So I have always had Lisa Bolthiel, my transaction coordinator, who does all the things. So I am very embarrassed to say that if someone asked me to, and I know that we did this in maybe orientation or something like 7 years ago when I started. However, if someone asked me to upload docs into Command and I don't know how to do that. So Lisa does that. However, so when you're making an offer, you're writing an offer after speaking with your client. And let me back up a little bit. Let me not get ahead. When you're doing a home search, your clients text you. Like I had a client text me this morning, and I said, because I said to them right in the very beginning, they're brand new buyers. When we start this, all you need to do is just send me an address, and I'll look into it. I'll look into it with the agent. I'll get all the docs downloaded for you and email them over to you so that you can look at them first. There may be something, they may like the house, they may like the pictures of it, it may look great. However, when you look at the property disclosure, the roof may need to be replaced, and the heating system may need to be replaced, and the septic system's really old, and they may not have the funds to be able to replace all of those things. So this may not be the house for them. However, they're the only ones who are going to determine that. So what I like to do in the first place, they texted me this morning. I looked it up. I left a message for the agent to find out, what the feedback's been. It's been on the market, blah, blah, blah. If I'm happy with that, I'm going to download the docs. I'm going to read through them, email them to my client so that they can read over the property disclosures and whatever is available in the MLS. I'm also going to send that address over to their lender and say, hey, can you just do me a favor and just kind of like run some numbers for them on this? Would this, can they, let's say they're doing an FHA loan. Does this house qualify for an FHA or a VA loan? Is there chipping or peeling paint? Is there a safety issue? No railings, like that's something, it can still happen. However, there might be some work that needs to be done after an appraisal and whatever. So I would always kind of run something by their lender first, because you don't want to get all excited, make an offer and get them all excited, and then you send it to the lender and the lender's like, oh, well, we can't, this isn't going to work for them, or the numbers aren't going to work for this reason, or whatever. So that's my advice on that, is to have a good relationship right from the beginning with their lender, and work closely with them to make sure, because then you're kind of heading off any issues that there could be before there's even an issue. And not even letting them know about it, so you're taking care of all this stuff before they even go and see the house, Then we've talked to the lender, everything's great, we're gonna go see the house, they love it, everything's fantastic, we're gonna write an offer. And then we're going to send it over to the listing agent. One thing I would always say is always let them know as soon as you see a house and your clients, are they're all excited and you're starting to write an offer and you're talking about it, immediately let the listing agent know so that they know that there's an offer coming. If they don't know, they think you just saw the house, they don't hear from you, and you just think, well, I'm just going to send the offer in. What if in that time, in that 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, they didn't think that you were interested, you saw the house, you didn't say anything that you were going to be writing an offer, someone else does, the seller's like, I just want to be done with this, I'm just going to accept the offer I get. And someone else gets it because you didn't tell them. So always let a listing agent know, hey, just a heads up, I'm starting to write an offer, so that they know and they can let the seller know. And then you submit the offer, always text them and let them know the offer's in your email, please confirm receipt. And then you start the fun part of negotiating with the other agent and with your client, if there's any negotiating to be done to purchase the house. And then hopefully you'll be under contract. Then you can start with your vendor coordination of, lender immediately. They're going to need a copy of the contract, and they'll let you know what docs they need. If there's any inspections to schedule, you'll schedule those immediately. The lender will be coordinating with the client if there's financing and if there is a lender, they're going to be coordinating an appraisal, unless they get an appraisal waiver. And if that case, you're really lucky. It doesn't happen very often, but if you do, thank your lucky stars and thank someone for that happening. And just make sure that all of your dates and deadlines are met. Make sure you really keep on top of that, whether it's make a list, have a spreadsheet, have it on a whiteboard, put it in your calendar in your phone. Make sure that you're meeting all of those dates, because that's part of your value proposition. You're going to make sure that everything goes smoothly, and for everything to go smoothly, you have to be on top of everything in the contract. Once that, like, I forget who said it, Sue, but we work with our clients. And then when the contract's in place, we work to serve the contract. Isn't that right? I think. So when that contract comes into play and that's an active contract, you're working for that contract all the way through to closing. And then your pre-close preparation will be, working with the other agent and the lenders, making sure that, sorry, let me back up a little bit to vendor coordination. There's also going to be the title company. The title company in the very beginning, one of the first things they're going to do is send out a buyer questionnaire for your buyer to fill out. So I always tell them, you're going to be getting an email from the title company. This is who the title company is. Look for this email. They're safe to speak to. They're going to send you a buyer questionnaire. Please fill that out immediately. Don't wait on that. I mean, there are a couple I've had where, oops, what happened? There were a couple I've had where they didn't do it till right before closing, and then, the title company's trying to chase them down and they're chasing you down. So just make sure that you're, telling your client all the way through what's next. I think that's a really important part of kind of enforcing your value proposition. They're not going to be wondering, and people will tell you this 1,000 times, like in every class. Always tell them what's going to be coming up next so that they're not surprised. And then pre-close preparation, there's going to be, things that are going to be done with the lender and the client, and you're going to be waiting to get the clear to close from the lender. Once all of the numbers are in from the lender, they're going to send that over to the title company. You're going to get the clear to close comes to the client from the lender first, and then you're going to get those lender numbers are going to go to the title company. They'll do all their numbers, and then they'll do a clear to close, and they'll send an Alta statement to you and to the client so that everyone knows what that looks like. You'll see the buyers and sellers, the listing agent, buyer's agents commissions on there. You'll see what the most important number is, what the buyer needs to bring to closing. And if they have a lender involved, they're going to know that before, because there's the lender has to send those numbers to the buyer, and there's a TRID law where they have to have that paperwork in their possession for 3 business days. Um, and they have to sign that, and they'll send it back to the lender, and then the lender sends it to the title company, and then we're good to close. And then we go to the closing and everyone's happy. And it's just a really good idea to keep in contact with your clients, obviously. Post-closing, don't forget about them. Some people really do forget about them, and they can kind of fade off into the distance, especially when you start getting busy. We don't like that word. Ask Tim Lindsay at some point when you talk to him to tell the Jamie Hassenfuss story about why we don't use the word busy. Um, and yeah, just keep in contact with them because they may need you in the future. You know, I just had a closing a few months ago with friends of mine. I sold their house in York a few years ago, moved them up to Sebago Lake. They decided this is way too far. We can't. It's beautiful up here, but we don't feel any community. Sold that up there this summer and moved them back down to Wells. So that's 4 sales from one person who I hadn't seen. They were old friends. I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I ran into him at Market Basket, and they were like, "Hey, would you sell our house?" And I was like, "Sure." So stay in contact with people. Always, always, always. Don't forget them. The top 10 service areas of a seller value proposition. The same thing, it's a needs analysis. Why are you looking to move? What will that do for you? When would you like to move? Where would you like to move to? You know, why are you selling your house? A pricing strategy. And this is really where you will shine with all of your knowledge, because it's really, really, really important to get that pricing. I mean, the market's really funny right now. So, you know, I have a couple of new listings, and I was talking to my team lead, Allie, about this yesterday, and it's kind of wonky right now. I mean, you'll see this price drops all over the place, this thing's sitting on the market. However, are they sitting on the market because there's something wrong with them? Are they sitting on the market and having price drops because they came out of the gate and overshot the price? Probably. I mean, we still are under in what our inventory should be. So it's not that there's too much inventory and there's too much to choose from. However, in Kittery, we looked yesterday, there were 32 homes active in Kittery, which is kind of crazy. That's a lot. That's the most we've had in a long time. So you have to really be strategic on that price. And there are a few, if Candace and Jeff can drop your email address at some point before we're done in the chat, or your phone number, or both, I'll send you a few emails. There's a really, really great Tom Ferry YouTube video that I love. I don't know if you've heard of Tom Ferry. I love him. He's really high energy, but he's very concise, and very easy to listen to. And he has a really great video on describing pricing strategy that's very easy to explain to your clients. Preparing the property. You know, we know by looking at the MLS, you know, our clients can turn on HGTV and see what a beautiful home looks like. You know, they can look through the MLS and look through different listings and look through different pictures, what looks great and what shines and what looks like it's worth its value and what doesn't look so great. I always tell sellers, you don't have to do anything. However, this, you know, this could be an issue. It possibly could be an issue. Do you want to address it? Do you have the funds or the means or the time to address it? If you need help with that, we can be the source of the source. I mean, we have a vendor list that we've been compiling over the years. So I can recommend a handyman, an electrician, any of that at any given moment. Whether they're available or not, that's another story. So always have multiple available. However, that's like that being the source of the source is really helpful to them, because when they start thinking about selling their house, they're going to get, most of the time, or some people can get super stressed out super quick. So if you're there to help and take that stress away, as much as you can. I have a landscaper who can come over and take care of this. Is that okay? Like, can you swing a few $100s for that? And, we're going to have the house cleaned and all of that and emptying out and just preparing the property and really kind of walking around through, and this will probably be in a different Ignite, I'm sure it will be. However, when you're walking through a seller's house and you're doing a listing appointment, I always tell them I'm going to walk through this with the eyes of a buyer. So I know, like, you're going to want to walk me around. I did this the other day with a friend of mine on a listing appointment at her house. And I said, I'm going to walk through it. I'd like to walk through it by myself and see it through a buyer's eyes. And she was like, but I'd like to walk you through and tell you how much, how amazing this all is. And I was like, that's great. And you can do that. However, I'm going to look at it as I'm going to see what a buyer sees. I know you love your home, but who's going to see what you're not going to see, So preparing the property, getting a marketing strategy, and backing up to property preparation. Ideally, if they're going to be doing anything, you want to do that prior to getting photos done. Ideally, obviously, that kind of goes without saying. What's your marketing strategy going to be? Are you going to do an open house? Are you going to do showings? Is it going to be, assisted, unassisted? Are you going to, how are you going to advertise it? Are you going to do videos? This is, so telling them everything that you're going to do, and making a plan with them. And then marketing the property, going to the open market, doing showings, whether you're doing open houses or showings. Hopefully you're getting offers. Like we say, they only need one offer to sell a house. However, if our pricing strategy is good and strong and smart, they'll receive multiple offers. And then you can leverage those offers against each other, because you can't offer, when you're talking about the pricing strategy, I don't want to get too far into this, but if you're, and this is in the Tom Ferry video, if you're coming out of the gate with the target price that they want, they might get no offers or they might get one offer. And that's when you tell them, I can't leverage one offer against one offer. There's nothing to leverage it against. I need more than one offer. So to do that, this needs to be really dialed in. Then when we get our offers, we present them to them. As soon as you get an offer, you send it right to the seller. They get it immediately. There's no sitting on it and waiting. I'll send it to them tomorrow. Nope. They're away for the weekend. Don't care. Send it in their email, text them, let them know, call them, drive it over, whatever you have to do. Just make sure they have it. You don't have to drive them over, I'm kidding. Unless they're old, then they might want you to. Negotiating to sell. That's when you're going to be negotiating. You're on the other side of the table like you would be with a buyer, and you're working with your seller and the buyer's agent and making sure that your seller's getting everything that they want. And if there's some things that they have to negotiate on, then, and it's always going to be their decision. So just make sure that they're happy with everything. That's really important. I never want anyone signing anything if I don't hear that joy and calmness and gratitude in their voice. If I don't hear that, then something's not right. So make sure it's right. And then sell the property. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do the pre-close preparation. You're going to, between here and here, you're going to be, if there's any inspections, you're going to be making sure that you're, this goes back to a value proposition. There's a lot of times when I'm going to tell a really quick story about how to be a shitty list agent. Yes, I swear, I'm like a sailor. I'm Italian from Lawrence, Massachusetts. I was working with some lovely buyers who lived in Vermont, lovely couple, and they wanted to buy a second home in like upper New Hampshire. And I was showing them all these houses all over the place. I was really kind of driving all over the place. However, I did love these people and I had the time to do it, so I did it. They just happened to, the one house we ended up going under contract on was the one open house that I couldn't go to because I was doing an open house down here with my team. So, they went to the open house. The list agent I had worked with a few years ago to sell a lake house somewhere, and they're both out of the Portland office. He had moved to Alabama. So he had his co-list agent, this little Cindy Lou Who, do the open house. Now, I don't know this woman from a hole in the wall. I hadn't met her. I assume everything's fine. She was at the open house, whatever. Talk to my clients, we go under contract, everything's fine. I call the list agent and I was like, okay. And he was like, you're going to be working with Cindy. Okay, fine. There weren't any inspections on the house. They waived everything. So I had never seen the house. Fast forward, we go through, no one ever really has to go to the house again until the walkthrough and the closing. I call the list agent to schedule the walkthrough and she was like, oh, the co-list agent. She said, I'm not going to the walkthrough. I don't go to walkthroughs. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, I just did the open house for him and basically she was just pushing the contract through. So she said, you can just go to the house. So I said, okay, fine. I meet my clients there. I've never been to the house. The house should be empty and broom swept, as the contract says. I show up at the house. I get out of the car. I look around the property. There's stuff everywhere. Like it looks like someone full on straight up lives there. The garage door is open. It's completely full. There's a motorcycle in there. It literally looks like I rolled up to the wrong house. I was like, something's wrong here. I rolled up to the wrong house. And you guys better strap in. This story's crazy. This is why you have to mean what you say what you mean, and do what you say you're going to do. Go to your walkthroughs, go to everything. Don't be someone who signs a listing and then just, throws everything on a lockbox and just is not there. Don't be that person, because this is what happens when you're that person, when you're Cindy Lou Who. So, and that's not her real name. It's fictitious. So I get out of the car, my clients are behind me, and I can hear a dog barking. And I mean like an aggressive dog, like an aggressive big dog. I don't know if it was, I don't remember, it was a German Shepherd. I kind of had blacked out by this point. Jumping on the window. Literally, I could see him jumping on the window. Like, if you come to this house, I'm going to kill you. So I called the listing agent and I was like, what the bleep is going on? Why is there a giant effing dog here? Like, what is happening? Whose dog is this? And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It must be the seller's. She probably left him there to go to the closing. I'm like, well, I can't get into the house. My clients aren't going into the house. This isn't safe. I'm not allowing them to do that. So fine. Then my clients are bullshit by this point, because now, not only because of the dog, but because there's shit everywhere. Like the house, like nothing's been emptied out, at least outside in the garage. So I called Jen Vashon, our managing broker, who I ended up being on the phone with, connected phone call for 5 hours. Okay, let's just start that, 5 hours. So we thought that the worst part of this was going to be, oh, this stuff here, what are we going to do? She's like, we can do an escrow holdback. We got to get the dog. So the listing agent calls the seller to come back and get the dog. Now we've got to wait. So my clients are pissed by this point. Now we're already late for the closing. So I call the lender, Nick Doucette from Blue Water Mortgage, who was fantastic, who was already there with the Christmas hat on at the Keller Williams Portland office waiting for us. He's like, no worries, we'll just wait here. The woman comes, gets the dog, and puts him in the car. And she starts trying to talk to me. I see she's been drinking. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I'm not talking to you. I'm just going to take my clients in the house so we can go. She's got the dog. We open the door. My client goes in before me because he's pissed at this point. So he kind of heads off in front of me. His wife goes behind him, and I have to pull up the rear behind them. He goes in the house. The wife goes in. She immediately turns around. She's white as a ghost. She comes running out like the house is on fire. I'm like, what in God's name is going on? So I push by her. I go in the house. There's a kid, like a 20-something-year-old kid, running down the stairs. It was like a big kind of barn kind of thing, kind of attached to the house. It was a big, cool, open barn thing. He comes running down the stairs, and there's like bedrooms above there. He comes running down the stairs with a backpack on. His pupils have left the building, and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, what's going on? Pardon my swearing. And he was like, I didn't know there were any showings today. I'm like, showings? The house is selling today. Who the hell are you? And it was the seller's son, who was a heroin addict, who was still living in the house, who had no plans on leaving, who was high on heroin. And so when she came and got the dog, she never said anything to me like, oh, by the way, my live human being son who's high on heroin is in the house still. So my clients were catatonic by this point. Now, mind you, I still have Jen Vashon on speaker, and she's just like, we go up into the bedroom, there's dirty needles and dirty food. Like looked like I don't want to eat, I can't even, I still have pictures of it, but there's needles and food and rotten all over the house. Dirty sheet. I mean, it was disgusting. The rest of the house looked like it did at the open house, except there were some things in the closet. So pre-close preparation, closing, when you're working with a seller, you are going to your walkthroughs and you are knowing ahead of time if there's a heroin addict sitting in the house, still living in the house. So needless to say, we went back to the Keller Williams Portland office. It was like 5 hours on the phone with the attorney who owned Cohen Title and our managing broker, Jen Vashon, and the lender. And we finally ended up kind of closing, but not really. It was like it was a days long thing, that didn't get any better for a while. But the lender and I worked together to put them up in a hotel for the night because they were going to sleep on the floor in their new farmhouse. All just the two of them. They sent the teenagers away and the dogs, and so we got them a hotel and dinner. So, it's not always going to be a fairy tale, but you have to make it as much of a fairy tale as you can and do your job to the best of your ability. What did you think of my story? That's a true story.
Terrifying.
So was he
Yeah.
there during the open house too, and nobody knew?
I don't think so. I mean, he couldn't have been. I don't know. That's the thing. I still to this day, I mean, it was so shell shocking. I can't tell you. I mean, if you
Yeah,
even
that's
ask,
wild.
yeah, I mean, if you ask Jen Bashon about that today, she'll just be like, I mean, it was awful. Anyway, but that's what happens. And Jen Vashon, we had that agent she came to collect the check. That's the only time she came to the closing. So that poor seller sat there the whole time with no one. Like, she was asking me, she was like, what's happening? What's going on? And I was like, you got to call Michael. I brought her water. I felt bad. She was by herself. Granted, like, she kind of brought this on herself, but the listing agent, I mean, Jen Vashon screamed at her was holding the phone, and Jen was, like, this is not a good look. You're a Keller Williams agent. This is 2000% unacceptable. And so it was because she hadn't gone. She had got it under contract, and then she was like, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to show up at closing and get a check. That's not what we do, and that's not what a value proposition is. So do better.
Okay,
Do
so
better.
what not to do? All right.
What not to do. Don't be like Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
totally. And you guys will all have I have a few of those, like a 5-ish hour situation. And I've had a few that, like, the hour that you schedule for closing has turned into like 4 to 6. And it's going to happen. But like Carol said, like, just staying calm and getting it done, however possible. You learn so much from it, and don't be shocked because it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I had one that everything was going great. The client was fantastic. He was happy. Everything was great. And I think he hadn't seen the house. It was I think it was a sight unseen because with his work schedule, he worked out of state or something, and he was moving. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, I was doing a closing with Erin Prue, and thank God Nate Dickey was there that day. And we were closing at the Portsmouth office, and we had gone to the walkthrough, and I could see he was really quiet, and he was like, I don't know if all my stuff's going to fit in here. And I was like, well, that's something that you should have known before today. Like, I don't know what your stuff is. You have the measurement. Like, I don't. So, I was like, oh God. And we were walking up the stairs with the lender to the closing, all happy, to the market center. And he stops midway up the stairs and says, I'm not going to buy this. And he just turned around and started walking back down the stairs. I was like, no, 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 no. That's not how this is going to go. You can't just turn around and walk down the stairs. We need to talk about this and go up. And so it's going to happen, and you're going to get it worked out, and it's going to be fine. Just make sure that you're always, like Jason says, bringing water, not gasoline, to the fire, and staying calm and doing what you can and leaning into your brokers. That's that. Let's move on. What buyers want most from their agent? 52% said to help them find the right home to purchase. 13% to help them negotiate, it's funny that that's such a small number, to help them negotiate the terms of the sale. That's wildly, I mean, I don't know. I feel like everything is equally important. To help with price negotiations shouldn't be smaller. And I think it's hilarious that the other is bigger than these two. Factors that buyers value in choosing an agent, 44% is other, which is the biggest. I would think that this 20%, this agent is honest and trustworthy, should be the largest. Agent's experience and the reputation of the agent is the least important to them. Not important, just least important. And that the age, is this the same? Yeah. What sellers want most from their agent. 21% is to help them price the home competitively. And these are almost equal, which I find interesting. Help the seller market the home to potential buyers. Help them sell their home within a specific time frame. Help them find ways to fix up the home to sell it for more, and whatever the other is, whatever's, the other most important things to them. Other, again, here is the biggest, which it's wild. The reputation of the agent is important to sellers, and it is interesting, and you will find that a lot of sellers will take the word of a friend or family or a neighbor who has sold their home before. There's an agent who is she's an agent in an area on the seacoast here, and she's been an agent for a long time. I think she's kind of going out of the business a little bit, but her, people will say, I've talked to people who weren't happy with a specific part of their listing or the process of selling their house, and they say, how did you come to hire this agent? And they said, well, I've just seen their sign a lot. I've seen their name. So they don't know, they're just seeing that sign, they're going by the reputation. Well, she must be an amazing agent. And maybe that's not really the case, or maybe it is, but maybe not for them. That the agent is trustworthy and honest is 19%, and a friend or family member, that's kind of a big number. That's a good thing right there. You always want to go with someone who's who you know or trust. So that's something that is pretty obvious. I wouldn't be surprised about that. I don't know why that's a different slide. 3 steps to define your value proposition. Identify your knowledge, your attitudes, your skills, your beliefs, basically what makes you who you are, that make you qualified to be a great real estate agent. What is it about you that's going to set you aside? Are you a very honest and loyal person? Are you hardworking? Are you detail oriented? Transform the value you provide and the value of Keller Williams and your market center into benefits for your clients. What can all of that do for them? All of your skills and beliefs and knowledge, and the knowledge and the backbone of Keller Williams and the market center, that's all going to benefit your clients. And then build your value proposition statement. We just talked about this, identify your knowledge, your attitudes, your skills, and your beliefs that make you qualified to be a great agent. So what is it about you that's going to stand out? So you can start, like, after this, do a little homework and kind of jot down in a notebook, what are some things about you, some adjectives, how would you describe you? What do you bring to the table? Those can kind of be like your little building blocks of your value proposition. And then transform the value you provide and the value of the market center into benefits for your clients. So you've got that list of what are your attributes? What am I bringing to the table? And then the next part is, what is my partnership with Keller Williams, and that knowledge, what is that bringing to the table? And then kind of put that together in a cohesive statement, and that's going to be your value proposition. Does anybody have any ahas, any questions, any comments, concerns, bathroom needs, coffee needs, questions, anything?
I just think you've done a great job kind of explaining a lot of the stuff functionally. So I think for a newer agent, we hear this stuff sometimes, but like hearing actual experience with it has been very helpful for me, at least.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. And it's true. I'm not just going to sit here and read the screen, and I really feel like that value proposition, like, I'd love to know what that value proposition was for that agent. I'm sure she doesn't have one, or if she did, it was 40 years ago and she just, in plain English, doesn't give a shit anymore. I mean, clearly, she was just there to, sign a contract and not even open the door again. So, there's no value there. There was no value to that poor seller. I mean, yeah, I wanted to wring her neck for the dog and the son and all of that. However, I felt bad for her. She signed a listing agreement with these people to sell her house and to serve her. And, they neglected to tell her that her son needed to leave, and the so just, these are things that, you know, not like Sue said, it's not all going to go smoothly. However, if you're doing your best all the way through and you're keeping in communication with your clients, like you're saying you're going to do all the way through, um, it's just going to make a smoother transition and a smoother transaction for everybody. I have a listing right now that my client just texted me this morning, and I'm going over there. I go over there like once a week and check on the house, and she likes me to go over and see what's happening, and not all sellers are like that. Or when you're working with a seller, they're all going to be different. They're all going to need and want different things, and some people need more than others. Some people want you to be really dialed into them and really really holding their hand the whole way through, and that's something you'll know right off the bat. And if that's something they need, then do it. And know right up front, can I do it? Do I have the time to do it? Am I going to dedicate myself to this and be there when that person needs me?
So
Don't
is
tell them,
that a
"Oh,
situation where they could file complaints against the agents?
Sue, I mean, they can just give you, I think at the very least, they'd be telling people, well, she said she was going to be here, and then she wasn't here and never came, and, you know, didn't check on things and didn't answer me or didn't come over when they said they were going to. I mean, you don't want that either. At the very least, you don't want someone saying that you didn't do what you said you were going to do and you didn't do a good job in their eyes. And what every seller and every buyer is different. So in their eyes, what is making you a fantastic agent? What do they want from you? And that's the other thing too, is backing up to the very beginning, you need to have that conversation with them and set expectations on both sides of it. Like it's that buyer's agency agreement and the listing agency agreement, exclusive listing agreement, those are bilateral contracts, like Tom always says. They're bilateral. It's you and me. It's me and you. Like, you own responsibility, I own responsibility. So if you're going to need a lot from me, I need to know that up front, and then we have to set that expectation. And, like, I will be here for you. So she and I have this understanding. I'm going to pop by the house like once a week. I'm going to see the landscaping that was done. I'm going to see the new floor that was put in. I'm going to see how the garage is doing, all of that, and also I like to see it because I need to know where we're at. I need to be able to see. If I don't go over there and then I'm just waiting and I wait till I'm meeting the photographer over there for photos, and I see that the garage is still full of shit, I'm going to be like, that's on me for not going over there and saying, how's it going? Do you need some help? Should I get Declan over here from Scribby's Disposal with his dumpster? Like, so you need to be on top of things, and knowing that up front and having those expectations, being very clear up front so that no one's disappointed. You know what I mean? So that's
And when it gets to a certain point, there is unprofessional conduct in our statute.
and
So,
that's the ethics part of it, right?
well, ethics is through your boards. Going against the law is commission, but unprofessional conduct is a fairly vague. I mean, it's broken down in the statute, and I'll take the opportunity to say it would be awesome if every single agent read, at least for New Hampshire, if you just Google New Hampshire RSA 331-A and print that out, like keep it, like read it, understand what's expected. Some of the things, and there's probably a hearing coming up next Tuesday, which you can go to by Zoom at the commission. You'll get a prime opportunity to see what is unprofessional conduct. Can't say any more at this point, but if you log in by Zoom, you'll get a good understanding of what's not okay and what can happen.
When is that?
Next Tuesday, it's the third Tuesday of every month, starts at 8:30 in the morning. And if you just type in OPLC and then choose real estate, it will wind you into how to register for that. But yeah, it's just, and for both agents and clients, doing things like that, you just nobody's ever going to forget it and they're going to pass it along. And it doesn't do the industry any good. We're not always thought of as the top of the pile. And when things like that happen, it just promotes that even further. So just sleep well at night by doing the right thing and
Mhm.
just as purely simple as that.
And especially where, with the whole NAR settlement thing last year and, where we have to define our value and we have to be the best that we can be because we have to defend our commission and we have to defend our even right to be sitting there at the table, because people say, well, why do I need to pay an agent? I can just do this myself. We don't need to have an agent. Well, here's why you need to have an agent. Because the person on the other side of the table, the seller could, if the seller has an agent, why wouldn't you want to have an agent? You know? So anyway, is everyone good to move on? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Carol,
Sue?
I hate to do this. I'm going to jump off because I have something going on with a upcoming closing and I'm trying to do 3 things at once. And it's probably also a really good lesson to not do that either. So thank
We
you.
all do it. We all do it. Well, it was
We
so
all
lovely
do it.
hearing
I
you.
know. I know. Well, thank you for being there and for grabbing the class. You did a fabulous job as always.
Thank you, honey.
We'll see.
Thank
Talk to you
you.
soon.
Bye, Sue.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye, Susie. Okay, so daily success system. Having your conversations, figuring out how many conversations and if you've sat with Tim, if you haven't sat with Tim, you should sit with Tim. I meet with him. I actually feel like we missed a week somehow because he was away, but I sit with Tim every 2 weeks, every second Tuesday. And you can sit down and do your 411, is that what it's called still? The 411 and the other one, your GPS, like your roadmap of, figuring out, how many conversations do you need to have a day? How many contacts have you added to your database? And adding people to your database, it's something that I'm still doing. I mean, if you think about the people in your phone, the number of people in your phone, and putting them in your database, that's a big number. I am still very guilty of not having even half of the people in my phone in my database. So I need to work on that. Handwritten notes. We do a lot of handwritten notes. We do something, our team does this, we call it Note-vember for November. And we do a contest. So we send out handwritten notes, cards, and I just get fun cards. I used to be able to go to the Christmas tree shop when God bless the Christmas tree shop soul, may they rest in peace. I used to go there and buy boxes of cards and I just get all kinds of fun cards and funny postcards and things like that and just send them out to people, especially like past clients, just around getting ready for the holidays, how was getting the kids back to school, how was Halloween, are you getting ready for the holidays if you're whatever holidays you're celebrating. I think everyone celebrates Thanksgiving, I think, for the most part. Because it's about food, so why wouldn't you? And just sending out handwritten notes. People love to get something in the mail that's not a bill, and a lot of people don't send them out. And yes, you can do, there are all of those companies that you can send them out with, it's words, English language here sometimes just leaves me. You can do those automated ones where it looks like it's handwritten, but it's really not. I don't do that. I like to just handwrite them out. And then social media engagement is really important and doing videos and doing TikToks and, putting pictures. It doesn't have to all be about business. There are tons of social media classes and YouTubes out there and people that can help you um, with social media, and what you should do. And you don't want it to be all about real estate because that's boring. People are just going to tune out and be like, yeah, we don't care. We know what you do. We don't care. Yeah, there's another house. So pictures of your pets, pictures of what you're cooking, pictures of like the leaves turning, pictures of like whatever. Just, I did this today. Here's a local coffee shop that I love. Just fun as much as you can be there because what you're doing is you're reminding them that you're here. Your name is in their face. and they're going to remember you. You know, if they don't see anything from you, you're out of sight, out of mind. So social media is really good to, and it is kind of something that like becomes like a little job, like it's something you have to do, but then it just becomes something that you do. And it's just second nature and you're not thinking about it. And in that way, I mean, I was at the doctor's last week at Mass General at Pease, whatever, going to a doctor's appointment. And my old friend, an old coworker, Denny, who I love, I haven't seen her in years, years and years. I don't know if it was more than a decade, had to be like 15 years. Hadn't seen her, saw her in the lobby of Mass General, and she came running up to me and gave me a huge hug. And she was like, "Oh my God, I see all of your posts. I love seeing what you're doing, and you're selling all these houses, and I love watching what you're doing." Like, Denny is seeing my stuff. I haven't seen her in like 15 years. So that might, if she knows someone that needs to buy or sell a house, or if she wants to, hopefully she'll think of me because she's seeing my stuff somehow on there. Enrichments, I don't know what this is, and I keep forgetting to ask Tim from the last time I taught it, so I apologize that I don't know what enrichments are. Could be like yogurt. I mean, I don't know. I love yogurt. Could be that. Oops. The TCPA list is usually, this is usually the first slide, so I don't know why it's at the end. However, it's really important to pay attention to the do not call list because you can get in trouble. If someone says, "Don't call me, take me off your list," don't call them and take them off your list. We on our team, we use Brivity. We all have Command. We used to use Command, and then we switched over to Brivity as a platform. And the cool thing about, I don't want to show you I'm not going to show you my Brivity because everything's confidential. But when I look in a client card in Brivity, their phone number, when I scroll down to their phone number, if they're on the do not call list, there's a little like icon that will come up and be like, they're on the do not call list, don't call them. So you can call someone if there's someone who you've worked with or someone who's reached out to you. However, just be mindful, don't be cold calling people who are on the do not call list. I don't know if Command has that capacity. I don't think I ever saw it on there. However, it might be in the past couple of years because I haven't used it. They might have added that on there. So you can access that list at any time. And it looks like it's at the bottom, HTTP. So it's www.connect.com/page/industry-resource- something. Do not call DNC. And this is just, how to use Command and Connect and answers.kw.com to get help. The Connect platform is really amazing. There's so much information on there. So, and this answers@kw.com is fantastic. So there's so much on there. If you ever get stuck, just go there. And if you can't get anything from either one of these platforms, you can also book time with KT Temple, who's fantastic. At any time, you can do a private Zoom with him, and he'll help you figure out things, set up things, learn how to do. If you want to, there are people at the Market Center also who can help you with setting up. And I'm sure you've already done this, making sure that your Facebook and social media pages, your email signature, making sure all of that is compliant with the Market Center. But there's a ton of information here, so use it. I don't know who said this. Maybe it was Gary. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. We love that. And then celebrating for successes. So have you guys worked with, let me see, are we done here? Is this? Yep, that's the end. Okay. Stop sharing. Hi. Have you guys spoken with, oh, thanks for putting your information in there. I'm going to take a screenshot, a camera picture, and then send you some videos. Have you guys worked with any buyers yet? Sellers, buyers, anything?
I have somebody that might be potentially interested in something, but I feel like it's going to be, it might be, it could be anytime in like the next 2 years. So it's someone I'm going to be keeping in touch with, but it's somebody who, I haven't done any deals yet. I was finishing working. I work at I work in Newburyport. I work for Tuscan Kitchen. I work at the Tuscan in Newburyport. So we had an extremely busy summer, and I have to, work my bleeps off in the summertime so I can, take time off. And I took most of this year off for school. So I promised them I would work full time for the summer, and that after Labor Day that I was going to step back and really focus on my business.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've been super duper busy. I haven't done anything. I've been popping into classes on the, I'm doing what I can over the last, since I started up in July, but I've taken the time back to step and really just trying to figure out which route I want to go in. And these classes, this Ignite has been super helpful. I missed the first one, so I'm so glad that I'm able to get into this one, because I'm just looking for, as much information as I can on getting started. And
Yeah,
it's the
you can,
person
well, you
is
can go
somebody.
back and watch the video for the first one.
Yeah, I will. I saw yeah. Well, no, I'm these sessions here, but I mean, I think it was going on over the summer or in the spring, and I don't know,
Yeah.
I couldn't get in. I couldn't make it because of work, but I'm so glad that this time around I was able to. And yeah, I'm really excited. And I think this has been some great info. So I
Good,
have
I'm glad.
somebody, but I don't know if they're just somebody that knows me, that knows I just was newly licensed, and gave me something to, maybe do for them at some point. So that's
Yep, I know,
exciting. But
and there's a lot of things, it's so exciting. There's a lot of things that we all have, and you'll always have, that are, a lot of them are a long game. Like my team lead, Allie, just closed something that or put under contract, I think, that she had been working with these people for like 7 years. I mean, there was a buyer that I worked with during the pandemic, and granted, the pandemic, like, that market was, it was crazy, and you couldn't catch your breath. Like, you literally couldn't catch your breath. We'd be standing in line outside for half an hour waiting to get into an open house. I mean, it was preposterous. And this was a first time buyer market. And I must have written 12. This is really funny. So I wrote like 12 or 13 offers for her. Finally got her under contract on a house in Rochester. She ended up, she was single at the time. She's lovely. She was so happy with her house, sweet little house in Rochester. She ends up meeting someone, getting married. They have a couple best friends. And the wife, I think her name was Megan. She's an agent. And then all of a sudden, so now fast forward, I'm working with friends of mine who just got married, and they're looking for their first house. And we're looking in Rochester in that same price range. And then I see, and I've been reaching out to Nicole and keeping in contact with her post-closing, always sending her cards, calling her, all this and that. And then all of a sudden I see her house listed, and it comes up in the search that I'm looking at in my friend. And I was like, oh my God, I said, I would have helped you. And she was like, oh, I totally would have used you again, but we used our friend. And, she's like my husband's best friend's wife. And I was like, oh, I totally get it. And she was lovely. And I ended up selling that house to my friend and her husband. So, you know, some things come back around. She was a long game in that it was a short amount of time, but it was a long game with the market, at the time. And then there are some people that you'll work with for years, so one of the things that we used to do, I don't think they do it anymore. I thought it was really fun, and I think, one of the only people who went in the office to do it. New Year's Day, Tim and the Market Center used to do this cool, it was kind of like a contest thing, maybe. And New Year's Day, we would go into the office, and it was like dialing for dollars, and we would call people and say, hey, it's me. Hope you had great holidays, hoopity doobity, whatever. I'm looking to help, X amount of people, or we're not really supposed to say family, but we used to say we're helping to I'm going to help 50 families this year. Who do you know that I should know? Who do you know that I can help? I'm looking for referrals, even if it's like they're looking a year out, 5 years out, who do you know that I should know? And start getting, lean into your sphere and ask them who you can help. That's that. And also, to give you really quickly my value proposition, because I think where you can probably just go soon. And then you can jump into New Hampshire contracts. Or is either one of you, I know Jeff is you're doing Maine soon. Is Candace, are you licensed in Maine and New Hampshire?
I am licensed in Maine, and I'm looking to get New Hampshire as well.
Okay, so when we're done, you can jump on to Maine, and then we can all jump on to New Hampshire at 11. Um, my value proposition is I am going to work with you and with my team to find, whether it's buying or selling, to help you buy a home or sell a home in the least amount of time with the least amount of stress, with the help of my team. And we're going to work together so that you always have a whole team behind you as a resource anytime you need it. So it's kind of something like that. And if you're a single agent, you know, you're just, you're not a team, you're taking the team out of it, but you have a team of agents and brokers. I mean, you don't even just have one broker, you have 4 brokers, which is pretty phenomenal. And most agents and most brokerages can't say that. So
I'm
that's amazing.
considering maybe exploring if joining a team might be right for me. I'm just trying to figure out which way I want to go.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like how we look at it, is that like my transaction coordinator, Lisa, who I truly couldn't live without. I mean, I don't even know half of how she does what she does. Basically, when I put someone under contract, we have all of these systems in place, using Brivity that my team has tirelessly spent like years creating these huge auto plans that have all of these checklists. So basically, when I sign a new buyer or a new listing, when I sign a new listing, I go in, I upload the docs, obviously, and then I fill out a Google form. That Google form then goes to the whole operations team. That Naj, my VA, virtual assistant in the Philippines, sets up a whole like auto plan to start running, and then it immediately starts running, and I start getting tasks immediately in there. Did you do this? Do this, and it tells you what to do and how to do it. And then when I do that, you know, say it's like upload the docs to Dotloop. I check that off. When that checks off, it automatically sends a whole new set of tasks out to Lisa's got to do this. She's got to do the intro to the seller and send everything to the lender and send everything to the title company. And is the earnest money deposit delivered? And she starts doing all of that work. And then it's all of these tasks are, as people are checking them off, it's creating a new task to go out to someone else so that nothing is being ever forgotten or left. And when that person goes under contract, Lisa starts her job. And like she says, now you're pretty much free to go out and get more business. I'm going to take care of everything out. I'm taking care of the paperwork and the clients and the lenders and the appraisers, not the appraisers, but like the, you know, title company. Like I'm taking care of all of that so you can go out and get more business. So you're free to go on more appointments and sign more people because someone else is taking care of all of the work stuff. So
So that's how
that's
team
not how all
works?
teams work. Nope, that's how our team works. So all teams are very different. All teams are not created equally. Um, there are some really great teams in the market center. And there are some teams that are just, in my opinion, just smaller. They're managing smaller. They're all set up differently. So they might not have a VA, they might not have a director of operations, they might not have, you know, they might have a transaction coordinator. Some of them may not have a transaction coordinator. Teams are set up very differently. However, that's just how our team works. So for me personally, that's all I've ever known. I would not leave, I'm not ever leaving my team because I'm not that organized so that I would be on top of everything. I would be too afraid that I would let a deadline slip. And say I had multiple contracts going on at once, you know, I love having the security of knowing that someone smarter than me is taking care of all that. So, yeah. I mean, if it's, you know, it's
Okay.
something to always explore. It's not, you know, for everyone. And a lot of people, you know, join the business and they say, oh, I'm just, you know, I want to do it all myself and I'm going to do it. Well, that's great. You know, at some point you're going to need help. At some point you're going to need someone to um, help you with paperwork and things like that. If you want to be successful, because you can only do so much by yourself, you know?
It's 10:30.
And if you have a client like my seller right now who's pretty, I don't want to use the word needy. She's not needy. She's just, you know, we're working very closely right now. So if I was a single agent and I had, you know, all of these deals going at once and I needed to physically be there with my clients at the same time, it would be really hard to split myself into so many different places. You know what I mean? So, and that's just me personally. That's just I'm a Gemini, so I'm, you know, an air sign. I need the grounding Lisa transaction coordinator team vibe to keep me, you know. But that's just me, you know, it's just knowing yourself. So it's a decision you can't make right off the bat. You got to wait and
Yeah, I'm
Figure
I'm
it out.
exploring everything right now.
yeah. Yeah, and don't ever jump into anything. Nothing's permanent. You can always like, and you can interview different teams and say if that's something you ever want to do and see what fits, what people you like, what vibe you like. I mean, we also do a lot of like big, we're coming into our like crazy event season. We do the Kittery Block Party. Now we're getting ready for October 5th. We have our family reunion. So we throw like it's basically like a fair at the Rate Farm, with like bouncy house, live band, beer garden, food. Like it's a whole fair. We used to have axe throwing too, but we're not doing that this year. Anyway, so it's like a $10,000 party that we get to invite all of our friends and family and clients and potential clients and just people you're talking to. So it's a big event that you're not paying for, the team's paying for and throwing on. I mean, it's a lot of work, but we're doing that. And then we have our pie day, like there's the Keller Williams Pie Day, which you both have to come to. It's mandatory because it's the most fun day of the year. Um, but anyway, we do a lot of like food drives and charity things in the local communities. So that helps us to get our name out there, So for me, I love that because I'm leaning on the name of the brand of my team. If I say Haven Homes and Lifestyle, people are like, oh yeah, you have that Airstream Stella that you do the food drives with. So it's, you know, that's part of it too. I love the fact that we're doing good in the community. Anyway, not about us. It's about you. So think about what your value proposition is going to be and keep your butts in contracts class and talk to your people and be a good agent. Don't be a Cindy Lou Who. That woman, if I ever see her name on anything again, I don't even know what I'll do. I don't know. I don't know. You can't tell your clients not to buy something, but you can just gird your loins. Do you guys have any questions? Jeff, do you have any questions? You're quiet. Jeff's like, I'm working, I'm busy, I'm getting after it. All right, well, you guys have a good day, and get into contracts, and I will see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was
And I'll
great.
send you, oh, thank you, and I'll send you guys some emails later.
Cool. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys too. I'll see you around.
Have a good one.
Bye.